GT Thomas here. Welcome to this first video in a series about my 9 thought experiments that wrote themselves into the 9 songs on my album I Am a Highlighter Pen. We're going to start off with just a little introductory video. Let me start by saying that I never really studied philosophy outside of logic and a bit of epistemology. But from my beginner's understanding of both of those and like the thoughts that form as a result of that understanding, I hold it as a guiding principle in my own life not to make big claims as to what's true unless there's some really solid evidence for those claims. What I prefer to do instead is try on different lenses through which to view the world and just see how my day-to-day life and interactions change, or don't, as a result of those lenses. I look at this as carrying out little thought experiments. In 2018, I spent 9 months writing through my observations of life through various lenses in a new-to-me journaling practice. And then I would go through and do something I've actually been becoming increasingly associated with nowadays, namely highlighting. Highlighting the stuff that I wanted to allow to continue to saturate my daily life for an indefinite amount of time. That highlighter stripe on those pages became a literal representation of that saturation on the pages of my life. When I wrote the 9 songs on my latest album, it was the accumulation of those 9 months of thought experiments and highlighted life-saturating ideas. Each song had stemmed from its own lens. When people experiment with things scientifically, we typically expect there to eventually come a result or verdict. And I think the temptation with thought experiments is that after trying on new perspectives for a bit, we feel the urge to know, well, is that perspective right? Is it wrong? Should I live my life in a different way than I did before? Is this a new thing for me to invest my beliefs into? Is it true? From my current outlook, I feel it's a waste of energy, kind of, to invest in getting those kinds of answers when we carry out thought experiments like the ones I turned into these 9 songs. Now, this might be starting to feel a little vague, so let me just give one example of a thought experiment that turned into one of these songs. What if what I hear said is a reflection of me, not the other? That's the thought experiment that I'll be sharing with you 2 weeks from now for my song Shut a Mouth. I think after experimenting with these types of thoughts, you begin to just be able to tell what ways of thinking help you align with your authentic heart, who you are at the core, versus which ones were less helpful. Whether you opt to put on a pair of lenses permanently or just for a stage of your life, I think remaining open to new ideas and willing to put in time, trying on new perspectives that intrigue you is a healthy use of time, because curiosity is good. So is a large dose of skepticism, and non-fallacious thinking is a must, by the way. I just have to say that, because sunk cost fallacy is a thing. It's something I just want to lovingly remind people of. It is okay to call it quits with a lens that's not working for your own good, no matter how invested you are. So anyway, I decided I wanted to engage in a new 10th thought experiment with you to encapsulate what we're doing with this mini-series in the first place. It's a thought experiment that's been tugging at me for a while now. It asks me, what if obsession could be a positive guiding force in our lives? Obsession seems like it amplifies parts of your unique you-ness by drawing out a quality or trait in your spirit and kind of putting it under a magnifying glass. Whether that trait is a positive one or a negative one, that's what obsession does. Only you can decide if you trust in yourself to have positive traits that, when magnified under the magnifying glass of obsession, expand that positive part of your spirit and add something good to life on Earth. Before I kick off thought experiment number 10, though, I need to make something really clear from the get-go. I am aware that there's such a thing as negative obsession as well. It's neither my job nor duty to advise anyone as to what's a positive obsession and what's a negative obsession. What I can tell you up front is simply that when I obsess about the things that bring me to life, spark me up, bring me joy, and that just overall I find very stimulating in a way that feels light, enthusiastic, or loving, I become more present in my own life and seem to find my actions aligning with my values more. So, it's under the banner of this 10th thought experiment about obsession as a positive guiding force in our lives that I decided to create this mini series for you in which I'll be bringing you along with me as we positively obsess over each of the 9 thought experiments that birthed my latest 9 songs. Throughout the time of the mini-series, you're invited into the fun of becoming slightly obsessed with these songs and the thoughts that went into them. So I'm going to help you do that through 9 more videos that are going to show up in your email for the next 9 weeks. Let's see if that obsession over these thought experiments could be a positive force for good. That's the goal. I'm going to give you so much to think about, so hold on to your hats and get ready for Obsessorama 2020 with GT Thomas. I will look forward to giving you the first thought experiment for track 1, One of Us, next time we talk. Bye!